Lesson 4 is graphs and functions. So our objectives are to represent functions with tables, graphs, or equations. So we have a bit of vocabulary here. The first one is a relation, and a relation is simply a set of ordered pairs. So 2, 5, here let's just give an example. 2, 5, negative 3, 6, etc. It's just a set of ordered pairs. And then we have what's known as the domain. The domain of the set of all possible x values of a relation. So in the previous example, the domain would be 2 and negative 3. They are the two x values. We have the range, which is the set of all possible y values in a relation. So our range would be 5 and 6 from this example up here. Then we have a function. And a function is a relation that pairs each input value with exactly one output value. So each input has exactly one output value. In other words, the inputs can't repeat with different outputs. I can't put 2, 5 as one point and then another point as 2, 7. So the inputs cannot repeat. The outputs can repeat. I could have, for example, let me go ahead and write this down. So 2, 5 and 2, 7, not a function. And we'll get more into that in just a little bit. I could have 2, 5 and 7, 5. It's okay if the outputs repeat. This is a function. So each input has to be exactly paired with one output. We have the independent variable, and the independent variable is the variable that represents the input. Well, we know the inputs are the x's, so the input of the function. So let's go ahead and just put a little x right there. So it's the variable that represents the input of a function. And then we have the dependent variable, and that's the variable that represents the output. And those are the y's. So the dependent variable is called that because it depends on whatever the independent variable is. We get to choose the x's, and the y's depend on what we chose for the x's. All right, let's go ahead and look at a table. Oh, you know what? We have one more vocabulary, and that is a vertical line test. This is a test that you can use to determine whether or not you actually have a function by looking at the graph. So it says a test used to see if a relationship is a function. On a graph, if a vertical line, remember vertical is up, down, so if a vertical line intersects the graph at only one point, the relationship is a function. And we'll perform vertical line test on this function or this relation down here to see if it's a function. So we're going to go ahead and make a table in a graph of y equals 3 minus x squared. We'll do this just like we did before. So we're going to have 3, they're asking us to use the inputs of negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. So 3 minus negative 2 squared. That gives us actually 3 subtract 4, because negative 2 squared is positive 4. So I'll put this down in here. 3 subtract 4, so we get a negative 1. And then I'll put in a negative 1, so it's 3 subtract negative 1 squared. Well, negative 1 squared is 1, so 3 subtract 1 is 2. I'll have 0. 3 subtract 0 squared. 0 squared is 0, so this is 3. 1, so we have 3 subtract 1 squared. Well, 3 subtract 1 is still 2. And then 3 subtract 2 squared. 3 subtract 2 squared is 4. 3 subtract 4 is negative 1. So we can go ahead and make our x, y coordinate column right here. Let's go ahead and do that. So we have the coordinates negative 2, negative 1, negative 1, 2, 0, 3, 1, 2, and 2, negative 1. So let's go ahead and plot those. So negative 2, negative 1, negative 1, 2, 0, 3, 1, 2, and 2, negative 1. Definitely is not linear. If we connect these, it looks like this. This is actually called a parabola. Let's go ahead and do our vertical line test and see if it's actually a function. So I'll get us a line on here. And I just have to pick points on here. I just have to be able to put a vertical line anywhere through this, and it can only intersect in one spot. And it doesn't matter, it looks like where I put this, it's only going to intersect in one spot. So here, 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 here. They don't even have to be through the points that I plotted. So this is a function. Something that would not be a function we'll look at in just a few minutes. All right, let's keep going. Okay, determine if each relationship represents a function. So here I have 2 goes with 3, 3 goes with 4, oops, but 3 also goes with 5. That can't happen. So here, and then the 2 is also going with 6. It says the input x equals 2 has 2 outputs. The outputs are 3 and 6. The x equals 3, the input also has more than one output. So the relationship is not a function. Here, on this next one, I could do the vertical line test, for example. If I do the vertical line test, almost everywhere it's going to fail. Right here it fails, here it fails, here it fails. The only 2 places it's not going to fail is on the end, but if it fails anywhere, then it's not a function. So I'm going to put that down here, and then we'll fill in the other wording. But just looking at the vertical line test, it's a fail because we have right here and here, it fails there, it fails there, it fails there, etc. So the relationship is not a function. So we came up with 2 that are not functions. Here it says the input 0 has 2 outputs. Y equals, it looks like 2, and y equals negative 2. And then the other ones also have more than one y value, so again, it's not a function. Okay, I want you to come back tomorrow, and I want you to make this table, and I want you to add this column of the x, y coordinates, and then I want you to determine if it's a function or not. So a function, yes or no, and be prepared to back it up. Like, tell me why you decide that it is or it is not a function. Okay, if you want to get started on your assignment, here it is. It's not due tomorrow, it's due the next day. So it's lesson 2-4, page 68 to 69, problems 8 to 23, 25, and 26.